everybody, Invisiblekatana here, and I am officially, finally, also I've had this thing for like 2 freaking weeks, so I'm finally doing it, but I'm opening up my Transformers Soundwave classic figure, which I do believe it is Pop Culture Shock, but it's PCS Collectibles. Obviously I don't buy a bunch, so I don't even remember the name. I remember Sideshow, and I'm pretty sure it's Pop Culture Shock, so that's all I got. But excited to get this. It's my first actual figure that I bought as far as, you know, specifically going to like Sideshow Collectibles or anything like that. That's actually where I got mine, even though it's Pop Culture Shock. I ended up getting mine through Sideshow. So this is my first one. I had to get this. Soundwave, you know, is my favorite. So that's, of course, I got my shirt. I got my little Soundwave G1 redo figure, or whatever they actually called it. It's the old, it's the Walmart one that they did where it was like a remake of it. So had to get everything out. I like that it's got the little Velcro strap to keep everything nice and sealed together. I would love it if it wasn't the styrofoam, but that's just a common, you know how it is. You know. I instantly imagine that I'm gonna screw that up. Oh, sweet. So this came in, I got a certificate of authenticity, Soundwave classic scale statue, and I actually got 25 out of 1,500. So that's super cool. Nice. Classic, 25, it's, do it by 5. So 25 is always like a cool number to get. 100 would be nice and stuff like that. So that's cool. 25 and an early one too. So that's actually awesome as well. So I got a cool 25 out of 1,500. So that's nice. Actually, let me flip this over. So with this being my first one, actually, there it is. I'm like, do I cut this too? I do not. I get the feeling I'm gonna use this for something later, so thank you, Pop Culture Shock. Like, I feel like, you know what? You can always use Velcro for something. That's really good. I'm gonna tie something with that because I got a million cords all over the place. That'll be good for later. But had to pick this up. Soundwave is my favorite Transformer. With ye old lockdown happening, I've had a lot of time to get into a lot of stuff where it's like, never really thought of that before. So you have a lot of time to look into things. Let me move this phone. You look into things, and one of the things you happen to come across is like, oh, look at all these YouTube videos of people with either giant gaming setups or giant collectible setups. And so, unfortunately, I like watching that stuff. My wallet probably doesn't like it as much, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And one of the things that ended up happening was like, all right, I love figures. Ended up looking into a couple of little things here and there. This is actually the first one I got, but I pre-ordered a couple of Star Wars figures. I got the Clone Wars figure coming of the new version of Rex that they put out, and I just pre-ordered the Ahsoka one because you kind of have to do it. You gotta have both of them. So ended up doing that recently, and I also got like one other figure, and that'll probably be it for me. And it was the Spider-Man, what the heck was it called? It's the future one. Not the future one, not 2099. Advanced suit, that's what it is. The advanced suit, like Mark IV advanced suit or whatever. And it looks amazing, and it's reflective as well, and it has like a pattern in it when you actually put a light on it, so I thought that was freaking insane. You have all the little gel, so boom, 3 packets of silica. Keep things nice and fresh. We have a little bit, that's actually very weighty. I was not expecting that. Okay, I'm happy with that. It's definitely gonna, I wish that rolled, but that wouldn't make sense. It's a statue, I know that, but this looks amazing. Just this front piece, I think looks amazing. Obviously, I'll be throwing in some clips here and there as we go through, but the body sculpt, I definitely love. Canon is amazing. This looks really good, top down, even with like all the pieces off. I actually like how you're able to really see that they went all in with it. Like, so when you take the pieces apart, it's still completely painted. So I like that, even though that should be, standard. It's nice. I imagine there are some places where maybe they cut some corners, things like that, but this looks really cool, and I definitely love the look of it. It definitely looks very fluid. Like, it looks like it could bend the way that they have it designed, so I definitely like that. Oh, okay. So obviously I'm unprofessional here. Hold on, let me start over. Boop, there we go. Gloves. Okay. Obviously super new to this, so sorry to freak you out if you happen to come across this. Check it out. Ooh, my freakish monster hands don't fit these gloves, but that's okay. That's okay. I feel like I got like some. Oh, like these don't even feel like they're on. Let's see. I doubt this matters, but let me give it a shot. Switch hands. Nope, all bad. It's all bad. But I think it's Nope, my hands are just freakishly large. That's all. There's like just the stitch on the thumb. I wish that wasn't there. Like it literally, like I can feel it when I move my hands. But that's okay. That's okay. Let's do this piece by piece. Do it the right way. Get all that dust off there. There you go. Makes me feel ridiculous. Like look at this thing. But that is nice. That is nice. Get my greasy fingerprints off of it. So we have the body of Soundwave. I'll be jumping on. Oh, here's the head. Itty bitty little head. Oh man. Okay, so these are also magnets. I can tell, mostly because everything is magnetic. You can see it. Got the little tiny circle there. Not sure how well that really shows up. Okay, that's not too bad. We'll just put his head right in his arm. Totally works too. It's like I can tell it's like a little far from it. And that one fits a lot better because obviously that's where it's meant to be. Okay. Getting them started. Probably cut through this a little bit as I kind of put the pieces together. So just exploring through this is just entertaining in itself. Excuse me. Got arms, everything's looking kind of normal. Instead of taking all this stuff out, we'll go to the next two little special pieces. And that would be the cannon here, which is definitely pinker than I thought it was going to be. I don't think they have it on the box here. It's just him. Yeah. So it's just him with his gun, with his blaster. But this is the cannon for it. As you can see, incredibly pink on the inside. And it's also like purple and white, which I don't think I realized that at all when I was actually looking at it. It didn't look that way to me. So I'll probably throw up. I mean, maybe I just forgot. It's been a minute. That was probably in March, maybe. March or April when I actually ordered it, but I don't remember this actually looking purple. I actually thought it was all white. I think that's what I thought. I think that's what they had for like the original image. I think it was actually completely white. So that's very interesting. So that definitely looks very different than what I was anticipating. Although I'll be totally honest, I did not plan on using that at all because I was like, the arm just looks a million times cooler with the gun in it. So that was admittedly like always my plan was to just be like, I'm probably gonna always just leave the cannon in the box anyway. And then we have, I guess it depends on what, doctrine you subscribe to, but this is either Rumble or Frenzy. So apparently that's one of the weird mix-ups between the cartoon and the comics. I always go with this is Rumble because he has the famous quote, get ready to crumble before Rumble. So for me, blue is Rumble, red is Frenzy. That's how I go with it. But apparently in the comics, it's swapped around. I didn't know that until, honestly, I think like this year, I found that out. So I was like, oh, I literally never knew that before. But this is great. I love the design on this as well. I actually like how it looks. Like it just, the way they have the motion, like the strokes going up, it actually looks really cool. It looks like it would move. It looks like it's in motion and it's done very well. So the way I should have been doing this was I, of course, should have obviously, super new. Should have started with the base and then put the pieces on as I took them out. But this is how it is. So we have right on the bottom here, the Transformers More Than Meets the Eye, Soundwave Classic Scale Statue, limited edition 25 of 1500. And of course it is in the Decepticon style. So that is cool. It's this Decepticon logo, I should say. So there it is. As you can see, it's got, the little boom for Rumble here. Just put him in his little peg. Slide him right down. Boom. There we go. Step one. Pretty nice. I definitely like it. Be careful with this and move my pieces down little by little. I don't think he even shows up. But yeah, he's too small to show up, so I'll probably just skip ahead and have it all set up for you guys, and I'll be right back. Alright, so here we are. This is Soundwave and Rumble. Like I said, you can also go with Frenzy if you prefer. And here it is all set up here. I definitely like it. I, of course, will swap out the arm cannon so you guys can check that out. But it looks really cool. It's very simple. It's literally, 4 pieces total for Soundwave himself, his head, his arms, and then his body as a whole. 5 if you count swapping the arms. So I definitely think it looks cool. Obviously Rumble looks amazing. Just pop him in place, he's good to go. One thing I noticed so far that's just like, okay, is this arm right here. It's like the slightest little wobble, and it's of course a statue anyway, so it's not like I'm actually going to be touching it or anything like that. But I do notice, like, this arm, incredibly steady. Like, actually, yeah, like that was super steady. I had to like really work that to slide it back out. And this one, you can just see that I can just like push down and it pops out. And I would assume that the reason for that is because of the fact that it actually swaps out, so it's actually a little bit off kilter, potentially, or it's just the one that I got, and that's my unique 25 out of 1500 version. It's about the same for both, I'd say. So that, yeah. Hold on a second. No, that's right. Whoa, see? That's why you always hold them at the base. So, that's how that looks with him having that. I didn't realize that was so tiny. That's weird. It feels like it's even, like, I feel like everything I saw from, like, the production image when they originally had it, I feel like it was all white, and I felt like it looked way longer. So that is super weird to me, because I actually thought that, yeah, that's weird. I thought for sure it was literally like coming out of his hand. And once again, that is something that happens. I know for a fact that happens, where sometimes the production image that they have is technically like, hey, this is the pre-order image, this is technically concept, but odds are, this is what it'll look like. But, excuse me, things can certainly change. Like I said, I was certain that the cannon itself was all white, and in no way, shape, or form had any hint of purple or pink. Definitely not just pink right in the middle like that. So I'm pretty sure this was all white, which is what I expected. So that shocked me. And the fact that it's so short, like, it looks weird, because when you look at it this way, it's like, okay, so it replaces like his entire arm. And because of the fact that it's a whole arm, that's kind of what lets you know, like, okay, this isn't like, okay, you pop this off and then you can, pop the hand off of this arm and then you have it all together. It's very clear, like, this is what it's like. Like, there are no instructions or anything like that. It's just, we get our certificate, and that's pretty much it. Unless I missed something, I think that's everything. Yeah, so, to double check, So yeah, that is exactly how it's supposed to go. So, aside from really just this, which, like I said, even from the beginning, the main reason I got it was because it was G1 animated Soundwave. I knew I was going to do that. Even when I would think about this, sometimes I would just think in my head, for some idiotic reason, I would go, Starscream. That doesn't make sense, but that's what I did. Okay. Messing with this just to see if the hand would fit in any other position, and of course it does, just for, I don't know, he's shooting and he's about to like throw a javelin or something, if you want to edit that in, I guess. But that's really it. I definitely love this figure. I have no idea where he's gonna go. Definitely love it. Definitely weighty. That's probably my favorite thing about it, is that I knew it was gonna be small, because they even show like it's basically like, an apple's like right here. So I was like, okay, it's not gonna be insanely huge or anything like that. Like, I have the God of War collector's edition. That's bigger than this, and it was cheaper too. Which, not to say that this is not worth the money. I totally think it was. I want to say it was $250, I believe. It was somewhere in that range. Of course, with it being limited, everything's always like, way beyond what it probably would be if they just kept making them and pushing them out to production. But that's kind of where all of these lie. Like, everything's always, it's that limited edition. That extra little couple $100 is always, well, I mean, it was only 2 something. So in this case, it was maybe like an extra 50 or 75 was thrown in, because it was like, small window of purchase. So definitely love it. Excited to have it. My first official GRAIL. I definitely love this piece. I think the animation on it is phenomenal. The reason I picked this one up, like I said, is because Soundwave is my favorite. They, of course, have Optimus already released. I believe Grimlock is coming out, or Grimlock might also already be out. I'm not 100% sure. Grimlock is my favorite Autobot, but I was like, like, it looks okay. Like, it seems kind of cool and stuff. And then as I was going through, that's when I saw Soundwave, and I was like, okay, Soundwave looks amazing. Like, all the animation stuff, all of that looked really good. Optimus looks good. Although, seeing that figure, I wasn't the biggest fan, even of the pose for that one, because it's like, it's him running, and it just, like, something about it just wasn't as cool, like where he has like one leg up in the air. It looked a little weird to me, where I was just like, okay, it's him running in action, but it would have been cooler if it was just like a cool Optimus pose, kind of like this a little bit, where it's like, you know, him pointing the gun, or, you know, doing some generic Optimus pose. It probably actually would have looked a little bit cooler. But I think the fact that they have these animated is the big part of why they always have them kind of in motion a little bit. Like, you know, you have, especially with this, you technically are getting two pieces, and that also adds to the value, because you're not just looking at one character with this. You have Soundwave. I want to keep saying Starscream, and I really don't understand why, but you have Soundwave and you also have Rumble. So you get two features to look at, and I think that's, you know, that alone I think is great for the price. And they both look fantastic. They look perfectly replicated from the G1 cartoon. So honestly, I love this figure. Like, you know, the reflections and everything, and it's all going in like one specific position, so you can tell that basically the light would be coming like from this side, kind of, well, I guess it wouldn't be going up, I guess it would be this side kind of going down. So it looks great. Like, I love the detail of the figure. I love the weapons on the figure. Little head sculpt you can pop right off and get up close and personal with Starscream. Why do I keep saying Starscream? With Soundwave. I don't know where the Starscream thing keeps coming from all of a sudden, but I do love this. I'm glad I got it. This it was always going to be my least favorite, but I swear this was all white, and that would have made way more sense, because even in the cartoon, and it's been a long time since I've seen the G1 original series, aside from the fact that I don't think we ever actually see Soundwave use this, you know, probably a couple times. It's kind of like seeing the Autobots fly with like episode 1 and 2, but technically they did it. So this was probably in there at some point, who the F knows. But I certainly don't ever remember thinking, he has like a purple blaster. That's weird. So that's just weird. That's just odd to me that they would even go with purple. The all white made way more sense, and also the fact that it literally completely replaces the arm, I think, is the other thing that kind of throws it off a little bit, because it looks so weird. It just doesn't look right where it's, I'm actually gonna take them off here. It just doesn't look right. Like, it makes sense because it's literally him like doing, you know, a dual blasting shot. So in that regard, it makes sense. Like, I understand why they have that, but just the distance on it, like, it just looks off. Like, it works a little bit. Like, if you kind of have them side by side, you can kind of tell it's a bit shorter because it's not the hand, but it literally has like the little forearm piece here, or I guess that wouldn't be the forearm, but you know, it has like the pretty much like the biceps and stuff. I can't think of what I'm trying to say for like this actual little piece here, but you know, you got the shoulder, you got the arm, and then where, you know, your forearm and wrist would be, that's where he has the cannon. But I think it's the fact that it's going side by side with the comparison of his actual blaster. It just looks super off. Like, it looks so tiny, and it's like, that just, it just makes it feel unnatural, where it's just like, okay, he's got like this little nub in here, and then he's got like his whole arm, and then he's got the blaster going off, and then when it's just his arm, it's like, okay, yeah, he just has his arm off to the side, he's, you know, he's shooting and he's looking that way, and his other arm's just kind of in a tense, clenched position, and that kind of fits, you know. But specifically just having the little blaster there, to me at least, I would definitely say looks a little weird, and that I think is just perfect because it looks so off. Especially it's the purple. I think if it was, even if it was just the all white, it would definitely look better. It would still look weird because it's so short, but just having that color there where it's like, it just really throws it off. It looks weird. Like, it doesn't fit, you know, the whole color scheme. It fits Rumble a little because, you know, you have the purple and the white, but other than that, it's like, no, the arm is where it's at. I hope some people enjoy both. For me personally though, and like I said, even going into it, I was like, I'm never gonna put that blaster on because it just doesn't look right to me. It didn't look as cool. So I knew that from the very beginning, like, I'm not really gonna enjoy this. So that's how it is, you know, and that's perfectly fine. And I think I might be able to actually do it on both. There it is. That's actually what it was supposed to be. I think that's actually how it was supposed to look with him using the blaster. It still doesn't look right. It looks a lot better, and I think it's only because the gun is right there. So you can do both if you want him to have both. But maybe this is how it was supposed to look, where it's him shooting the blaster from the one arm. Still, either way, it just doesn't look right. It does look a lot better. I can see it now. That's why it has a little mark on the top. That makes more sense compared to if it was on the other arm. It's upside down like this, so it's the jet purple on the top. So that makes more sense now. It makes a lot more sense. Still doesn't look that great to me. I still think if it was the all white and maybe if it had like a trim where it was, it went back to his blue color was the trim at the end, and then the whole thing was white, and maybe like you can kind of see like that little slit there. Maybe if they painted that in with black, or or maybe just left it the way it was if it was all white, and just kind of left a little divot in there, maybe the shadows cast it in, that would be fine too. But either way, it still looks off to me. It looks a lot better because now I actually have it on the right freaking arm, so apologies for that. But you can do both, so there you go, in case you were curious and you hadn't tested that out, or if you were curious in general, there you go. Me being stupid, now you got to see it both ways. So that's how that works. But still, just it's not it just doesn't look that good. It's just not for me, which is why it was always going to be the blaster anyway, which this still has that little thing, but once again, that's nothing. Like it's not gonna move. It's not meant to move. It's gonna be boom. Here's a figure. I almost did like this, and I forgot that little peg would have poked me. Wouldn't have been that bad anyway. But yeah, I love the figure. I think it's great. Never gonna use that blaster. Maybe every once in a while, I'll swap it out just because. I mean, you have the option. Why not do it? Although the box is probably going to end up going in my closet, so maybe I'll never actually end up doing that. So who knows, maybe if I if I get a house, maybe I'll just have it, or maybe I'll slide it somewhere secret and be like, okay, when I feel the need to swap it out, I'll just pop it on there. But for now, that'll stay somewhere else. But loving the figure. I think it's fantastic. I would highly recommend picking it up if it's even possible at this point. I don't know if it's sold out because, of course, once I pre-ordered it, I didn't bother checking to see. But you can give it a shot if you're interested. I don't know. Considering this just came out, I'm not sure how many people go into like instant scout mode. I'm sure you could easily find it for resale right now. It wouldn't be crazy considering it was only like 2 something. So you probably, even if people like scalped it, I mean, it is only 1,500. You never know. Like, that's the whole collectible world. I know that from video games and stuff. So with figures, this is definitely on the cheap end compared to the stuff I've been looking at. So I'm perfectly happy with my little Soundwave. I got my little 25 out of 1,500, so I'm happy with that. My gloves that are I just have freakish monster hands, but I feel more comfortable now. I think I've already like torn some of the thread because they aren't as tight anymore, and that's okay. Whoops. Okay, there you go. So that's an easy way to knock that out. If you go down, his arm will just pop right out. So be careful with that. And once again, that could just be mine. There's always those little things here and there. But his arm is definitely like, I can just nudge it and I can feel it like it's loose. Like it's just a little bit loose. It's not as snug. Not nearly as much. Like his other arm, it does not move at all. Like it is perfectly still, Okay, if I do it left and right, it will. But this I can literally do from any position, like any angle will kind of mess with it. And if you go down, it can just pop right out. So I would recommend being careful with that. If obviously it's a figure, small kids, pets, things like that. This is going to have the high ground, if you will. So, you won't really be getting the drop on and just, judo chopping Soundwave's arm right off. So that's not really a concern I have, but be wary of that depending on, what height level you actually do end up having it at. But I love this piece. If you like Soundwave, I don't see how you can't love this. I think personally, out of the 3 that I've seen, Soundwave, Optimus, and Grimlock, I think Soundwave without a doubt is the best one. Like technically you get 2 characters to look at anyway for one. I would have loved it, of course, if this, and it would have been way more expensive. But if he had like the others, I always go, for me it's either Rumble or Ravage. Those are like the 2 that I really like to look at. Laserbeak, of course, would be super easy. Have him like popping out of the chest. Throw a little Ravage like in between the legs. I don't know. Do something like that. They could easily do it. There are other figures that are, of course, way more expensive, especially now because I believe all of those figures are sold out. But there are other figures where you can get Soundwave as well as the other cassettes and things like that. But I think this is great, and they chose the perfect one. They went with Rumble. I think Laserbeak or Ravage are kind of like the other 2, but I think considering the fact that Rumble you can really have in motion, like you literally have like the little bit of dust of him like hitting the ground and like the smoke coming up, and even on the very front it's like the rocks are crumbling off. So that in particular I think is what makes him the best choice for that. So I think I don't see how it could get better, because even if it was Laserbeak would just be on his shoulder, or if it was Ravage would just be kind of walking around. They could probably do something where it's like a little bit of dust and smoke coming up from Ravage like running sideways or something like that. They could definitely implement a bit of smoke to add motion to that, but without a doubt, Rumble is like the #1 person to do that for. And once again, you can just see, just right in the way they did like the line strokes and stuff, it looks like it has that force of just, that pummeling effect that he has. So I think this is a great figure. I'm super happy to have it. Love me some Soundwave, even if I do call him Starscream like 3 out of 5 times. I don't know why that was happening, but I knew it would. It's just that random thing, like not even, aside from them both being villains, there's just no real connection there. But for some reason, it's Starscream. He's just so popular. It's automatic. It's an S and then Starscream. I don't know. Which is weird because there's literally a character called Shockwave. Yeah, I didn't say him once, but I said Starscream a million times. I don't know why. But I love this figure. I do love Starscream. He's cool. But I love this figure. I think it's great. If you can pick it up, personally, I think you should. Like I said, that's why I ended up getting it, because it was like, crap, it's freaking Soundwave. How can I not get it? It's animated style. I love these types of figures. I have 2 for Dragon Ball Z. They're not like Pop Culture Shock or Sideshow style, but they're, I think it's like Grandista, Ben Presto, whatever that thing. I think it's like a combination of those 2. I have like a Super Saiyan Vegeta, and it's animated. It's like the manga style. I have one because I got the Dragon Ball Fighter Z Collector's Edition, and it's of Goku Super Saiyan, and it like when you look at it, it's like you're looking at animation, and that's why I love these types of figures. And when it's Soundwave, I couldn't pass it up. So I love that for sure. I might get Grimlock if it's not already too late. Maybe in the future. Who knows? Maybe I'll have to be rich to get that, because it'll be upsold for like an insane amount of money. But I definitely love this figure. I don't love this blaster, but that's okay. Didn't plan on using it much anyway. But now we know, because of my idiocy, you can put it on both sides. If you want to have them, kind of dual wielding style, you can do that. So there you go. My screw up gave you another option, I guess. I would love to know your thoughts on this. What you guys think of the Soundwave figure, the style of it. Do you like the G1 style? Would you have preferred to see something like more the modern take? I know there are figures based on kind of the redone G1 version. There are figures based on the War for Cybertron games. There's a lot of different styles of all the characters, really. So I would love to know your thoughts on this G1 animation style. With the price range that they have for it, I would love to know what you guys think about it, especially if you actually collect figures. Where do you think this fits? Like, do you think it's actually worthy of the price that it is? Because for me, it was like, this is probably the only legit figure I'll actually ever end up buying, unless I'm super rich. I would love to get, there's that one insane Grimlock figure that's like this tall. I forgot who even makes that one, but it's like thousands of dollars. And unless I'm a millionaire, I will never buy that, because as pretty as it is, it's just too much money for me. Like it's just too much. So, the range is crazy. I got like this is basically like the dollar store brand compared to the stuff I've actually seen. But I love it. I think it's a great figure. It looks fantastic. I just gotta figure out which bookshelf it's gonna go on. It's probably gonna go right on the top, honestly, because I don't know. It just looks so good. But it's short enough to go anywhere. So, and that's a cool benefit. Like it's not gonna peak. It's not gonna hit like the top of my bookshelf if I put it on one of the other rings. You don't have to put it up top. And because it is smaller, it does work at more of an eye level rather than above eye level. So it's definitely one of those types of figures. But all in all, I absolutely love it. Like I said, we'd love to know your thoughts on it. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys have, as far as figures or collector's editions of games, things like that. What's kind of like your holy grail? Because this is definitely like I said, the title even says it. This is my first grail I count. Although that God of War is definitely like, this is probably like technically my second grail, but we'll count as my first. It's my first official figure only, like over $100 purchase. Is the first time I've ever done that. So I'm happy with it. Soundwave is awesome. Soundwave superior. That's just the way it is. So I love it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you guys have any comments, please put them down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.